Okay, chapter 6, June. I don't know if it's because Commander Jameson has taken pity on me or if she really does feel the loss of Matthias, one of her most valued soldiers, but she helps me arrange his funeral, even though she's never done that for one of her soldiers before. She refuses to say anything about why she chose to do it. Wealthy families like ours always have elaborate funerals. Matthias's takes place inside a building with soaring baroque archways and stained glass windows. They've covered the bare floors with white carpets. Round white banquet tables overflowing with white lilacs fill the room. The only colors come from the Republic flags and circular gold Republic seal hanging behind the room's front altar, the portrait of our glorious elector looming above them all. All the mourners wear their best whites. I have on an elaborate white gown, laced and corseted, with a silk overskirt and draped layers in the back. A tiny white gold brooch of the Republic seal is clipped on its bodice. The hairdresser piled my hair high on my head, with loose ringlets cascading over one shoulder, and a white rose pinned behind my ear. Pearls lined the choker wrapped around my throat. My eyelids are coated with glittering white eyeshadow. My lashes are bathed in snow, the puffy redness under my eyes erased by shining white powder. Everything about me is stripped of color, just as Matthias has been stripped from my life. Matthias once told me that it was not always this way, that only after the first floods and volcanic eruptions, after the Republic built a barrier along the war front to keep the colony's deserters from fleeing illegally into our territory, did people start mourning for the dead by wearing white. After the first eruptions, he said, white volcanic ash rained from the sky for months. The dead and dying were covered in it. So now, to wear white is to remember the dead. He told me this because I'd asked him what our parents' funeral was like. Now I wander among the guests, lost and aimless, responding to the sympathetic words of those around me with appropriate practice replies. I'm so sorry for your loss, they say. I recognize some of Matthias's professors, fellow soldiers, and superiors. There are even a couple of my classmates from Drake. I'm surprised to see them. I'd never been good at making friends during my 3 years in college, considering my age and my hefty course load, but they're here, some from afternoon drills and others from my Republic History 421 class. They take my hand and shake their heads. First your parents and now your brother. I can't imagine how hard this is for you. No, you can't. But I smile graciously and bow my head because I know they mean well. Thank you for coming, I say. It means a lot. I know Matthias would be proud that he gave his life for his country. Sometimes I catch an admiring glance from a well-wisher across the room, which I ignore. I have no use for such sentiments. My outfit is not meant for them. Only for Matthias do I wear this unnecessarily exquisite gown to show without words how much I love him. After a while, I sit at a table near the front of the room, facing the flower strewn altar that'll soon be occupied with a line of people reading their eulogies to my brother. I bow my head respectfully to the Republic flags. Then my eyes wander to the white coffin next to them. From here, I can see just a hint of the person lying inside. You look lovely, June. I glance up to see Thomas bow, then take the seat beside me. He's exchanged his military clothes for an elegant white vested suit, and his hair is freshly cut. I can tell the suit is brand new. It must have cost him a fortune. Thanks, you too. That is, I mean, you look well for the circumstances given all that's happened. I know what you mean. I reach over and pat his hand to reassure him. He gives me a smile. He looks like he wants to say something more, then decides against it and turns his eyes away. It takes a half hour for everyone to find their seats, and another half hour for the waiters to start arriving with plates of food. I don't eat anything. Commander Jameson sits opposite me on the far side of our banquet table, and between her and Thomas are three of my Drake classmates. I exchange a strained smile with them. On my left side is a man named Cheyenne, who organizes and oversees all trials taken in Los Angeles. He administered mine. What I don't understand is why he's here, why he even cares that Matthias died. He's a former acquaintance of our parents. So his presence is not unexpected, but why right next to me? Then I remembered that Cheyenne, I think it's Cheyenne, maybe Cayenne, I'll say Cayenne, had mentored Matthias before he joined Commander Jameson's squad. Matthias hated him. The man now furrows his bushy eyebrows at me and claps a hand on my bare shoulder. It lingers there for a while. How are you feeling, my dear? He asks. His words distort the scars on his face, a slice across the bridge of his nose, and another jagged mark that goes from his ear to the bottom of his chin. I manage a smile. Uh, Better than expected. Well, I'll say. He lets out a laugh that makes me cringe. His eyes look me up and down. That dress polishes you up like a fresh snow blossom. It takes all my control to keep the smile on my face. Stay calm, I tell myself. Cayenne is not a man to make into an enemy. I loved your brother very much, he continues with overdone sympathy. I remember him as a kid. You should have seen him. He used to run around your parents' living room, holding out his hand like a little gun. He was destined to enter our squads. Thank you, sir, I say. Cayenne saws off a huge piece of steak and shoves it into his mouth. Matthias was very attentive during the time I mentored him. Natural leader. Did he ever tell you about that? A memory flashes through my mind. The rainy night when Matthias first started working for Cayenne. He had taken me and Thomas, who was still in school, out to the Tanagashi sector, where I ate my first bowl of pork adame with spaghetti and sweet onion rolls. I remember the two of them were in full uniform, Matthias with his jacket open and shirt hanging loose. Thomas neatly buttoned up with his hair carefully slicked back. Thomas teased me over my messy pigtails, but Matthias was quiet. Then a week later, his apprenticeship with Cayenne ended abruptly. Matthias had filed an appeal, and he was reassigned to Commander Jameson's patrol. He said it was all classified. I lie. Cayenne laughs. A good boy that Matthias was. A great apprentice. Imagine my disappointment when he was reassigned to the city patrols. He told me he just didn't have the smarts to judge the trials or organize the kid who finished taking them. Such a modest one, always smarter than he thought he was. Just like you, he grins at me. I nod. Cayenne made me take the trial twice because I got a perfect score in record time. 1 hour, 10 minutes. He thought I had cheated. Not only do I have the only perfect score in the nation, I'm probably also the only kid who has ever taken the trial twice. You're very kind, I reply. My brother was a better leader than I'll ever be. Cayenne shushes me with a wave of his hand. Nonsense, my dear, he says. Then he leans uncomfortably close. There's something oily and unpleasant about him. I'm personally devastated by the way he died, he says. At the hands of that nasty boy. What a shame. Cayenne narrows his eyes, making his eyebrows look even bushier. I was so pleased when Commander Jameson told me that you would be tracking him. His case needs a pair of fresh eyes, and you're just the doll to do it. What a gem of a test mission, eh? I hate him with all my being. Thomas must notice my stiffness because I feel his hand cover mine under the table. Just go with it, he's trying to tell me. When Kyan finally turns away from me to answer a question from the man on his other side, Thomas leans towards me. Kyan has a personal grudge against Day, he whispers. Is that so? I whisper back. He nods. Who do you think gave him that scar? Day did? I can't keep the surprise from my face. Kyan is a rather large man and has worked for the trials administration for as long as I can remember. He's a skilled official. Could a teenage boy really wound him like that and get away with it? I glance over at Kyan and study the scar. It's a clean cut made with a smooth edged blade. Must have happened quickly, too, to be such a straight line. I can't imagine Kyan holding still while someone sliced him like that. For a moment, just a split second, I'm on Day's side. I glance up at Commander Jameson, who stares at me as if she's reading my thoughts. It makes me uneasy. Thomas's hand touches mine again. Hey, he says. Day can't hide from the government forever. Sooner or later, we'll dig that street brat out and make an example out of him. He's no match for you, especially when you put your mind to something. Thomas's kind smile makes me weak, and suddenly I feel like Matthias is the one sitting next to me and telling me everything is going to be okay, reassuring me that the Republic won't fail me. My brother had once promised to stay at my side forever. I look away from Thomas and towards the altar, so he doesn't see the tears in my eyes. I can't smile back. I don't think I'll ever smile again. Let's get this over with, I whisper.